Okay. All right, I'm Chuck Ehrlich. I'm the Liz McMahon Tribute Act for today. I'm a little too tall to play this part, but this is actually a talk, or it's actually an interactive exercise that we had put together. Elizabeth is fine, but she was unable to travel for a couple of days, so she's not here, but maybe next year. So this is for you. This is an interactive exercise. So if you're old school and you use paper and pencil for notes, please get paper and pencil ready. If you're going to take notes on your phone or computer, whatever, get that ready, because there's a couple things we want you to write down. It's an interactive activity, and writing it down is part of it. Okay, Elizabeth's disclosure, she gets royalties from some of the Lymph Notes books, and sometimes when she speaks about things, she gets honoraria, not for this meeting. And she's a clinical psychologist with 30 years of experience and a wonderful person, and I'll skip over all of this because I'm speaking in her place. She is co-author on a number of our books. We have a book on the emotional challenges of lymphedema. Much of that applies to lipedema, and we have the Lymphedema Caregiver's Guide, and of course the Nutrition Guide, where I'm the lead author, and I'm going to use the Nutrition Guide for many of the examples. But we can apply this to other areas because change is a process. Unlike what Nike says, you don't just do it. It is a process. It has a number of steps. When you finish with this, you should be able to describe the stages of change model for behavior change, list 2 or more of the stages in the process of making a change, and write 2 or more helpful actions that you can take to make successful change more likely in applying what you have learned here or other things that you want to change in your life. So, and you don't have to share this. If we have time, people can voluntarily share this, but mostly this is for you. This is how to help you with the skill of making changes and doing things that you want to have different in your life. So, the first step right now, please take a moment and figure out one thing that you want to change preferably as a result of what you've learned at the meeting. Otherwise, anything else that will benefit you, that will help you with your well-being, your happiness, your self-respect, your family and friends. You can think about practicing yoga, as we heard about earlier. You can think about making changes in what you eat or when you eat. You can think about reading the nutrition guide or getting more information or increasing your activity by just planning to stand and move at least once every hour. And it will help you to know what you want to change and why and how to make that change. So please, write down at least one thing that you would like to think on, and then raise your hands when you're ready, and we'll move on. Okay, looks like many people are ready. So the process of change has 5 steps. It's pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and then there's maintenance in order to stick with and maintain a change. And how you think about changing and what's going to be helpful for you depends on where you are in this process. And if you're in the stage of the process where you're not ready, you're in an early stage, things that are appropriate for a later stage in the process will not be helpful for you, will just likely to make you more angry and more frustrated. So let's think about In the contemplation stage, it's figuring out what change do you want to make. If you want to make it and what is it and everything that's involved, you have no commitment to it. You're not even sure what's going to happen or what it means. The contemplation stage, you're beginning to think maybe, possibly, that would be good, but I'm not sure how. In the preparation stage, you're getting closer. You're getting more ready. You're gathering information. You're getting the pieces that you need. Because change is a matter of will and skills. You have to both want to do it and you have to know how to do it and have the resources that you need to do whatever it is that you want to make different in your life. And then the action stage is when you are ready to actually start doing it and work on doing it and making it part of your routine. And the maintenance stage is when it has been part of your routine and you may need to maintain it, you may need to restart it if something has changed. Number of things that happen in maintenance. Okay, so for the change that you're thinking about, what stage are you in? Ask yourself these questions on a scale of 0 to 10. How important is it to me to make this change now? And on a scale of 0 to 10, how confident am I that I can make this change? Another way of thinking about this is, when do you want to make this change? If you're ready to start Monday, April 30th, or you want to start within the next 4 weeks, or you want to start within the next 6 months, or you're not sure if or when you want to start, that's another way of evaluating what stage of change you're at. Okay. All right, so does everybody have an evaluation for these two now? All right. So be curious about this. If your answers on a scale of 0 through 10 were in the 0 to 3 range, then you're probably in the pre-contemplation stage. You're still gathering information. You're not sure you want to do it. 4 to 7, you're into contemplation. And 7 to 10, you're in preparation, action, or maintenance phase. Now, here is an important question. Perhaps. Okay. Why was your number what it was rather than a lower number? If your number is 4, what makes it a 4, not a 3 or a 2 or a 1? What are the factors that are driving you to think about this? And write those down. Anybody need more time? Okay. Now, think about what would it take to change that number upward? What would move you, say if you had a 4, what would move you from a 4 to a 5 or a 6? What are the factors that would cause you to increase your readiness? And write those down. Now, if you're in the pre-contemplation stage, I would like to take you through a little exercise. I'd like you to ask, imagine, and write down the answers about what will happen if you don't make the change. How will you feel if you don't change? Do you really want that? Visualize yourself in the future. Project yourself 5, 10, 15 years in the future. See how old you would be then, how you look, how you feel, what can you do, how can you help yourself to be the best possible outcome, the best possible future self by things that you can do now, things that are under your control, things that you might possibly change. And there are simple things to change. If you're thinking about changing what you're eating, we have in the nutrition book a number of simple changes. You can start by changing breakfast. You don't have to change every meal all at once. You can start by changing the timing. There are great health benefits by extending your overnight fast period. So you brush your teeth after dinner and you don't eat again until breakfast. And if you can stretch that out to 10 or 12 hours, that actually gives the gut system time to empty and recycle overnight and has positive health benefits, as one of my co-authors has shown in her research. If you need more information, you're ready to start to read the nutrition guide, then that's another step in it. So you need to find the steps that are appropriate for you and think about why you want to do it. What is the best possible outcome if you do change? What is the worst possible outcome if you don't change? How do you feel about these outcomes? How will you feel based on what you have and haven't done? Where does that leave you? Where does that fit into your future? Now this one is what if you do change, and projecting in the future. If you make these changes, how will that help? What are the benefits to you, your friends, your family, the people that you care about? If you're not sure about changing, are there some steps in the process that you can make that can help you along the way, can help you see some of the benefits? Try completing and as one of the speakers said earlier, what is your why? Why are the reasons that you do want to do this? And try the sentence, I am so glad that I did this because it has helped me to do that, or given me the ability to do something else. Try imagining the process of change. What would it be like for you? What would be different about it? Walk through each step of whatever you want to do differently in your mind. What would you do first? And then what's next? And how would that feel? What's it going to look like? What's it going to sound like? What is the most pervasive arguments that you can make in favor of the change? And why is now a good time for you to make this change? If your score was greater than a 7 and you're in preparation phase, ask and imagine the answers to these questions. What will I need? How will I get it? How can I make this change as easy as possible? The 20-second rule is that if you can make doing the new behavior 20 seconds easier, you can increase the likelihood that you will actually do it. And if something makes it 20 seconds harder, that decreases the likelihood that you will do it. And figure out who will help and who will be in your way. Enlist people by writing it down. Figure out what works for you. For example, if you want to remember to floss your teeth at the end of the day, keep the floss out where you can see it, and when you go to the bathroom in the evening, that will help remind you. It will make it easier for you to pick it up and have it there. If you want to change what you eat, foods that are not healthy, either you don't have them in the house or you have them where they're further away, so that the foods that are healthier for you, you see first. Things like this, ways of making it easier. Okay. If you're already making a change and you want to maintain it, and you're in the action phase, you might think about, are you keeping track? Are you rewarding yourself? What is helping? How can you do this? What are you doing that is making this possible? And particularly if you have made a behavior change successfully and recently, think about what you have done that is working and how you can apply that to other changes. Because having made one behavior change already makes it much more likely that you can make additional behavior changes. The hardest change to make is the first one. It's really a matter of taking charge and being able to really, change is a process, it's a muscle. You exercise it, you build it up, get the skills to do it. If you're in maintenance, think about what you can do that can help make your changes be routine, automatic habits, build into your life. And again, the 20-second rule. If you can make it 20 seconds easier, you're much more likely to do it. What supports you? What prompts you? What reinforces it? If you're just doing something based on sheer gritted willpower, it's very hard to maintain over time. Your will is a muscle that fatigues. If you have obstacles, can you remove them? If there are things that you can do to associate what you want to do with things that are important to you, this will help tremendously. And if you have successful change that you have made, think about how you did it. Think about how you've taught your kids, how you as a child learned the routine, the daily rules that before you go out of the house, you need clothes on. You need to follow the traffic rules. You have a routine that involves getting out of bed and brushing your teeth and all of the routine things. And the long-term research shows changing one behavior makes it 2.5 times more likely that you can change a second behavior. The technical term for this is a co-action synergy. So let's summarize this for yourself, write up your plan, schedule the first steps. If you're ready, or schedule the next step. Whatever step you're willing to do, figure out when you're going to do it specifically. Write down a specific day or even a specific time so that it makes it very real for you. And feel free to ask someone to follow up with you or help you or support you in making this change, because that also makes this much more likely. Use your secret weapons of positive self-talk. And this is something that is supported by the research from the Navy SEALs, where they trained recruits in positive self-talk, and it helped increase their pass rates in some of the most difficult physical training in the world. So speak with yourself positively, be realistic, supportive, and say things that are both true and helpful. And if things are not both true and helpful, try not to say them to yourself. Many of us are our own worst critics, and we speak to ourselves very harshly. And we need to take care of ourselves. We need to face things that need to change, but it needs to be both true and helpful. And reward yourself. Give yourself some emotional dessert. There's no calories in emotional desserts. Think of three good things that have happened at the conference, things that you have done to help make this possible, and think about good things that happen each day, and write them down or talk about them over dinner, so that you do pay attention to the good things. Whether things are good on a scale that other people might say is good, but what is good to you? What is important to you? Appreciate what's going on that you can enjoy. Okay. And we have a couple minutes. Would anyone like to share any examples? Okay, let me just try and summarize that so everyone can hear it. What Sarah's saying is think about things that you have done successfully in the past and apply them to challenges that you face now. If you've had to find a job before and you have done it, how can you do it? How can you do it again? What will fit for you now? What are some of the things that helped you problem solve things in the past? And we heard a lot about solving some of the physical issues in the panel discussion before. How can you apply those now? How can you take advantage of what you have seen, what you have learned? Okay, so scheduling time for yourself, for your self-care, and for some of the activities that you enjoy every day, so that you are sure that you're doing it and you're planning around it. That's very important. That's a very good idea. And you have a very good point that sort of came by in that. Mistakes are important. You need to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you'll never learn anything. If you look at a child that's learning to walk, and you try and count the number of times that they fall down, you'll get bored. But you don't learn to walk without falling down. It's part of the process. And that's learning is a process, changing is a process. They both have their elements of needing to go through things, and not everything's going to work, but you need to learn, you need to keep going, you need to keep paying attention, and you need to try and not endlessly repeat the same thing and expect the results to be different. Okay, that's great. And connecting it to how it's going to help you, keeping the goal in mind, even though some of the things along the way may not be smooth, are all very important. Okay, all right. Thank you. Here's Liz's contact information. You're free to email her if you have questions, or email me at Chuck@LymphNotes. We're happy to provide answers and support you. And I want to thank you all. It's been a great conference, and thanks everyone. I'm